Hey, CrossFit KNYSNA. Every Sunday, Dwayne or I, are going to just be doing a sit down and a catch up with everyone. I thought it would be great to just chat to everyone about how they're feeling after this really huge change in all of our lives this week, and give you some perspective as to where Dwayne and I are and why we've made this massive pivot in the business so quickly, to try and give you guys the value that you all deserve. This is not necessarily aimed only at our members. This is also aimed at people who are going through the same thing, who are suffering through forced change. So like the theme of what I want to talk about today is around adaptation and adapting to change. As if you've done any form of self-help reading through your lifetime or through your adult years, you would have picked up the fact that change is something that we all have to be able to adapt to and adapt to fast, especially in the coming years. Well, what was supposed to be the coming years, which I think we've now got this incredible wake-up call to understand what it is like to have to adapt and change, even if we don't want to. So yeah, the first part of this video is really to talk about acceptance and accepting the fact that the reality that we have been living in up to this point has most certainly changed. And whether that means it has changed for good or whether that means it has changed temporarily, that is, the jury's out on that one. We don't know how quickly we're going to get back to what we considered normal, if there is even such a thing as normal. So it's really important to get to a point of acceptance. So a lot of you and a lot of people I've spoken to have only really realized the gravity of the situation and what's happening around us with this pandemic when you had to walk into your home for the last time, close the door, and know that you are not going to be permitted to go out of that space, or out of your home, or out of your tiny apartment, or even out of your shack. So the reality has dawned on people, and most people are still sitting in the denial phase of that reality. And that denial is not going to serve you in any way whatsoever. Although you have to go through that denial, it is better to go through the stages of essentially grieving stages, and get to the point where you accept that this is the current reality that we are in. So Dwayne and I were away at a huge music festival before this all got announced, and we had just driven out of the music festival on the Sunday, and we were going to take 2 days off with some friends in Onrus in Hermanus, and we just got there on a Sunday, and on that Sunday evening President Cyril Ramaphosa got up and did his initial speech to the nation with regard to the social distancing and the gravity of what was going on with COVID-19. And in the car driving back here, we decided to immediately get in the car the next morning and come home and not stay for our holiday. We decided, we actively spoke about the fact that we had to make decisions right then and there as to how we were going to navigate this situation. I had been doing quite a lot of reading and following the international crisis, and I've been watching very closely the responses of various governments around the world, and I've been watching the WHO recommendations as to what would happen and how you should deal with this crisis, and I was fully aware that we were going to have to close at some point. So we made that decision on the fly to pivot and to throw our business into an online space so that we could serve our members going forward. Now, we never did that with the intention of never opening a space again, a physical space, because obviously the entire business that we have is built around community and built around having you in our space with us and being able to have that personal engagement that you as members can also have with each other. So that was never the intention, but it was understood by both of us that although we were being told that was a relatively short space of time that this was going to last, we felt it was going to be much, much, much longer. And we're kind of working on a 3 to 4 month time frame or window period, where we see this being the new reality. And in fact, we kind of hope that the reality that we were living in before, not with regard to our business, but the reality that we were living in before is not going to be the reality that we come out and experience on the other side of this. So, yeah, acceptance. Get to the point where you accept that this is the new reality. Don't be in denial, and don't sit at home and not figure out a way to navigate this. So in the context of your own businesses, there are so many people out there that have literally lost their income overnight. We totally understand that that's the case. There are very many people that are way above the sort of let's call it our day-to-day problems of worrying about where our next cent comes from. And a lot of our members are very lucky and very privileged to have the ability to weather financial crisis. And that is really, really wonderful for those people. And it makes this a hell of a lot less stressful. But to those that are in businesses that have essentially shut down overnight and that are not sure where your next paycheck is going to come from, the suggestion is to pivot and change and adapt quickly. So figure out a way. Don't sit in denial at home and wonder when your business is going to reopen and when it reopens, if it's going to be financially viable. Rather spend the time applying your energy to figuring out new income streams that, should the world go back to some form of semblance of normality, that you are able to maybe now have dual income stream that is going to protect you from this type of thing in the future, because your business will get going again. It will get started again. It will start ticking over again. There'll probably be quite a big rebound when people get back to normal. That doesn't cut out the fact that 2 or 3 or 4 months of cash flow have gone to hell. So pivot, find dynamic ways of changing what you are doing, and or find something totally new that you can do to develop income streams. Obviously, there's been an incredible boom on online, any form of online entertainment, online business, music streaming services, anything to do with that type of stuff. Also, online shopping and all that type of thing is going to rebound quite fast when the pandemic sort of scare and the lockdown stops. So, adapt. That's the first thing. Adapt and accept. So the second thing I want to talk about is understanding that the only way to navigate a life at home is to set up a routine. So routine is absolutely critical. And for so many people, the routine of their life has been dictated by the other things that happen around you. You have to wake up to get the kids to school. You have to then go and arrive at work at a certain time. You have to work until lunchtime. You take your lunch if you're lucky. You go back to work, and then you get home between 4:30 and 5:30 after maybe doing a shop, cooking dinner, having a glass of wine, watching a TV show, and going to bed, and repeat, Groundhog Day, repeat. This has been what I call the honeybee syndrome. You have been controlled by factors and forces outside of yours, and outside of your sort of, let's say, your macro environment has been controlling you as opposed to the micro environment in which you live. Now you're living in a micro environment where nobody is there to tell you when to get up, what to do, how to do it. You might not even have work anymore. Those that have work are super lucky and can build that into their routine. And you're going to probably find that you're a hell of a lot more productive from home if you apply this idea of setting up a rigid schedule and routine in your day. What does that look like? Think about any other way. You need to become your own boss. And you know, I heard something so interesting many, many years ago. If you are unemployed, it is your full-time job to find a new form of income. It's your full-time job to find a new employer. So imagine what that means. That means you should be getting up, having your cup of coffee, potentially getting the kids ready for some form of routine. If you're lucky enough to be a dual parent household, then one of the parents can potentially do homeschool and entertainment. But your job is to spend 8 hours per day looking for a new income stream or creating a new income stream. I know that it sounds pretty dramatic, but think about it. It's your job to find a new income stream. So your routine should essentially be to wake up in the morning, as I say, have your cup of coffee, and then develop the space and time to continue finding work and making that your job, or doing work that you have. So this routine is going to allow you to maintain a semblance of sanity and maintain a semblance of control, you're going to feel very powerful in understanding that you control your own day and you control everything that's happening around you at the moment. So two powerful messages, because we don't believe that we only deal with fitness at CrossFit KNYSNA. Both Dwayne and I and Chelsea spend many hours in any given week having detailed and deep discussions with many of our members about general things that happen in their lives, problems, advice, exciting things that have happened to them. And we do act as a sounding board and very often as life coaches as opposed to just fitness coaches. So this is the message that we have for you today. Every Sunday we will come to you live from what I'm calling the green couch. So welcome to my green couch in my office at home. So the routine has got to be set up. So accept where you are and set up a routine today. When I'm talking about routine though, remember that your weekend should still be a little bit of fun. So set up your routine, work your Monday to Friday, or this is the ideal time to set up your 4-day work week, which everyone wanted to do and has wanted to do for ages. Set up a 4-day work week and have 3 days where you do not stick to that routine and you have some fun. So yeah, that's our, if I were to call it a podcast, a video cast, just going out to members, touching base. We'd really, really like it if you were to communicate directly with us. If you are having a hard time in the space that you're in, or just mentally accepting, or you've pivoted in the most incredible and interesting way and it's already working for you, please won't you comment below this video so we can give some people hope. Also, those people that really need help and have some, some questions that they don't know how to answer, I would happily, and Dwayne would happily apply our minds to being a third party that can advise you in that endeavor or in that problem or whatever you are challenged with at the moment. So yeah, we are super positive. We're really excited about the future. We are very, very happy about the fact that we have been able to develop some form of content that's going to keep you moving. Part of your routine has to be exercise. It just simply has to be exercise. So rather than lying in denial, state of denial, let's get moving. Let's get moving together. Let's share our stories. The CrossFit KNYSNA community group on Facebook is always there, and the comments on this video, on these videos on YouTube, are always there. So yeah, thank you for the most incredible week so far. We've had huge engagement from members. We've had people tuning in from all over the world, and I'm inspired by the potential for the future, but of course extremely anxious on the other side as to how this state that we're in will unfold. So a huge amount of love going out to our fantastic members and to those people who are not members that just wish to tune in and do a workout for some sanity, and or tune into just these Sunday sessions to really, really talk about the deep issues that are going on psychologically behind what is happening in the way that we are being forced into our zones and our space. Yeah, so love you all. A big, big hug from myself and Dwayne, and from Chelsea. We can't wait to get into a huge, amazing workout week starting tomorrow. And remember, we're giving away that Reebok cap tomorrow. So peace out. Have an amazing Sunday. I love you all.